Good morning. Welcome to the next session. Now today I am going to talk the second and very important part of our data science course, and especially the managing data science and security course, a term called as supporting technology for data science, or in general, and in particular we are going to talk about data security, privacy and issues and consideration. So, what is meaning by data security and data science especially, and what is meaning by privacy, all those things will be evidently clear as we go along. Now, let us see what is meaning by a security of the data. So, data security is the process of safeguarding digital information throughout the entire life cycle, starting from the generation to the end user. So, we say that throughout its entire life cycle to protect it from the corruption, theft or unauthorized access. So, I have three things available here. Number one is corruption. So, data may get corrupted, it can be stolen, that is a theft, or it can be accessed by a person who is not authorized to access it, especially in the case of a financial institutions or any other institution. If the data is being available to a person who is not authorized to use it, there were a lot of you can say that a lot of frauds are happening. It covers everything. Your security covers everything. Number one, hardware, that is your CPU, memory, each and everything which is a part of the hardware. Definitely the software, storage devices like hard disk, pen drive, any other storage device, and user network or access and administrative control. And of course, the last part is organizational and institute or any other company policies and procedure. So, I have shown here a diagram showing the security principle. I have a key and I can open the lock. So, the access to the system should be prevented by not a authorized person to be having access. So, what is the types of data security technology? We have firewall, we are going to talk about authentication, authorization, encryption, data masking, hardware based security, data backup and resilience, and last, data erasure. So, let us see in detail what is data security. So, data security is the practice of safeguarding digital information from unauthorized access, accidental loss, disclosure and modification, manipulation or corruption throughout its entire life cycle from creation to the destruction. So, the definition is very clear, starting from your creation, modification, corruption, everything goes in the life cycle of the data and it has to be safeguarded. This practice is key to maintaining the three things called as CIA: confidentiality, integrity and availability to a organization for a data. So, confidentially refers to the keeping the data as private, integrity to ensure data is complete and trustworthy, and availability is to provide access to only authorized entities or authorized persons. So, these three principles CIA play a very critical role in, especially in the data security, and sometimes we use the word data security or information security as a interchange word. Both are more or less similar. A processed data is nothing but a information. So, sometime I am going to use both the words. Known collectively as the CIA triad, if any of the three components is compromised, companies can face reputational and financial damage. So, if a confidentially breach is available or on a website of a bank, if anything goes wrong, the entire reputation of the financial institution will be at stake. Hence, the CIA triad is the basis upon which the data security strategy is being built. Such a strategy must encompass, number one, policies. What are the policies which are available? Which are the technologies which are being used for it, and control and procedure that protect the data from creation, collection, stored, retrieval and transmitted by the organization. So, with this background, let us go ahead and see what a data security is so important. Data is the lifeblood of every organization. Entire financial institution, the data is there. You have Aadhaar card data, you have financial data, you have bank data, you have so many number of data which are available. So, we say that data is the lifeblood of every organization. It informs decision making, finds solutions to problems, improve the efficiency and efficacy of operations, boost customer service and inform marketing efforts, reduces risk, increases productivity, enhances collaboration, and in the end is instrumental for a revenue generation and profit. So, you can say that very certainly all the operations are there, why data security is very important. Data is often referred to as a company's crown jewel. For something so essential, its protection must be taken very seriously, and especially in the data science project and the data science department, or in a data science cases, the data is the most important, and if data get compromised, your model, your everything will be into a soup. Let us take an example. Much like Coca-Cola secret recipe that is locked away in a vault, Hershey's secret lab that coconut is famous for kisses, and KFC Kentucky Fried Chicken famous is yet unknown 11 herbs and spices. So, you can see that KFC formula, except KFC, outside people do not know it. Coca-Cola formula to make the soft drinks, it is locked in the vault. So, complete privacy, complete security. So, it is crucial to keep certain data from prying eyes. It is not always as easy as putting something under lock and key. That is what I shown in the first figure, especially in the digital environment, because I do not have a physical lock, I do not have a physical key. Multiple employees, stakeholders and partners need to access the data. That enterprise value is so high, but more people having access, meaning more chances for things to go wrong. So, that is where the data security play a very important role. Let us come to data breach. So, data breaches which occur when data is accessed in an unauthorized manner are a major concern for organizations for all the shapes and sizes and the industries. In fact, 63% of the respondents of the KPMG study said that they suffered a data breach or a cyber incident in 2021-22, and that number is only a projection, and it is going to increase. It has already seen the increasing in the trend of the data breaches. Data breaches are attributed to a number of cyber incidents, including the following. Number 1, accidental leak or exposure. 2, phishing attack. Number 3, distributed denial of service, DOS, physical breaches, lack of access control and backdoor. So, with this data breaches, what we call data breaches can often result in hefty remedial cost as well as expenses stemming from the downtime and loss of the business. Regulatory and legal fines may also be levied, and in worst case scenario, companies can go bankrupt or out of the business totally. So, you can see that there is a lot of problem in the data privacy if a company or a organization is unable to cope up with. So, what is the answer? Answer is compliance. Data security is an important component in data compliance, the process that identifies governance and establishes policies and procedures to protect the data. Process involves selecting applicable standard and implementing controls to achieve the criteria defined by those standards. Regulatory compliance, which also refers to organizations follow a local or state or a federal or national or international or industry laws or policies or regulations, and is related with the data compliance. So, the data compliance for Indian government may not be the same as data compliance of a US government, but it may be more stringent too. However, regulatory compliance standards require the use of certain controls and technologies to meet the criteria defined. Following are some of the most compliant regulatory authorities like European General Data Protection Regulation, or very popularly called as GDPR, California Consumer Protection Act called CCPA, Health Insurance Probability and Accountability called HIPAA, and we have Sarbanes-Oxley law SOX, and Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard PCI DSS. Now, in US especially health, a compliance has to be there. A hospital cannot share the patient information with outside world at all. So it is a compliance and everybody has to follow. So with this kind of information, HIPAA for example outline provision for safeguarding medical information in the US. Among other mandates, healthcare organizations must adhere to standard for patient data securing or else face non-compliance fines and penalties. PCI DSS is a global standard aimed at protecting the credit card or a debit card frauds or a cash card transaction data. It sets guidelines for cardholders, data access control and network that process the payment information. Many regulators are subject to audit. Along with the organization, they must follow and adhere to the policies set in the regulation. So, beyond preventing breaches and complying with the regulation, data security is the most important to maintain customer trust, building relationship and preserving a good company image. It is also key to sustaining a competitive advantage from the other market holders or stakeholder or maybe a competitor. After all, if everyone had the recipe and the means to make the Haseski says the chocolater would be out of the considerable amount of money. So chocolate industry, other industry, they never disclose the data for making the product. So types of data security. Before an organization can secure data, it has to know what the data is all has, and this is where the data inventory, a record of all the data is being created, used and stored by the company. This is the most very famous important key concept. The process starts with the data discovery or learning what and where the data is all about. We go for classification. Classification involves a labeling of the data to make it easier to manage, store and secure. 4 standard data classification are: number 1, public information, confidential information, sensitive information, personal information. Public information like election manifesto declaration, so everybody knows about it. Confidential information, assets of the candidate, income of the people, financial transaction, banking amount money, these are all confidential information. Sensitive information, selling and buying prices of the trade center. Personal information we know. So data is often further broken down by business using the common classification levels such as business use only and secret. So let us see the type of security we have. We have sensitive data is often classified as confidential or secret and include a type of security like personal identification, just now I said, protect health information, electronic protection of the data, PCI and intellectual property. Whatever intellectual property or research work people do is also a conceptually intellectual property. So compounding the difficulty of doing data inventory and classification is that data can reside in many locations, on premises, in the cloud, in the database and on any other devices like IoT, to name a few. Data can also exist in 3 states. Number 1, in motion, meaning the data is being transported. So I have shown here a figure called data state, data in use and data in motion. Okay, so data in motion meaning the data is being transported from one place to another, okay, or uploading or downloading from the cloud and things like that. At rest meaning the data is being stored in the hard disk or data is being a destination, so it is not being transported. So you have access to the hard disk data, you have access to the network data. And in use, that is your YouTube. So in use meaning the data is being written, updated and changed in process, not being transported or being stored. So with this information, let us see what the data is all about. What kind of security we have. So because no single form of data exists, no single magic bullet technique can be secure for all the data. A defense in depth data security strategy is made up of a combination of so many number of tools, techniques and policies. So we must have data security policy and data science, very important. Number 1 technique, encryption, data masking, access control, data loss prevention and data backup and resilience. So these are the types of the data security we have as a technology. Encryption is changing from one form to another. So if I put a public key and private key, I hope every one of us know public key, private key. So you can use a encryption technique and you can use a reverse RSA algorithm or any other symmetric key or a non-symmetric or symmetric key, and all those things we can do under the encryption technique. Data masking is basically involving or obscuring a part which cannot be read. Okay, so I can do a scribbling, I can do substitution, shuffling, data edging, variance, masking out and nullifying. So these are all the data masking technique by which I can hide in some part of the information, and also I can unhide some other part of the information. Access control. On the best access control is what we call as is only have a authorized individual can view the data, edit the data and delete the data. It is inherently safe than the access free for all. Access control involves two processes, number one authentication, number two authorization. Authentication says that who is the user who will be able to use, and authorization says that who is the person authorized to access the necessary information and resources. So we have some principles available, authentication and authorization principles which are available. Then last is data loss prevention. So if in case if a data loss is there, then how to prevent the data loss from the happening. Okay, so you can have a recovery of the data or make a data duplication or triplication. Make a data backup, and resilience is another property which is strategic growing very popularity. Ability of an organization to adapt and recover following a cyber incident equate to how resilient is. So with this I have highlighted some of the very critical important things about the data security, data privacy cases, and how a data can be secured and what are the principles about it. Next time I am going to show about the other principles too. Thank you.